Welcome, everyone. Happy Canada Day to my fellow Canadians, and happy July 4th to all my American friends. So, today, Mental Iron episode is going to be answering a bunch of questions I've gotten from various people that submitted them to me through Instagram. So, anyone who wants to join me live, please do so, and I'm happy to answer your questions. And if you're shy about answering me or asking me a question live, certainly send it to me by my Instagram handle DM so I can address it in a future episode like this. Because I'm going to do, instead of one topic, I'm going to cover an array of topics today. So one of the topics I'm going to be covering today, or one of the questions is, weight loss. A lot of people want to be able to eat healthier, especially after the holidays. Now, for the Canadians, we're done our Canada Day celebrations, but for the Americans, tomorrow is Monday, July 4th, so you still have some potentially some barbecues to go to and some fireworks. But the thing is, how do you get back on track after a holiday? So the thing is, here's what happens. When it comes to indulgences, when I say indulgences, I mean food that's not necessarily healthy for us, but we enjoy eating. And it's hard to get back on track, especially after a holiday. So what I tell people, let's say after Canada Day or July 4th, for people to get back on track, it's important to have a plan. And that plan is, trying to figure out what you're going to eat after the holiday is done. Because I want you to be able to enjoy your holiday. So you want to go to a barbecue, that's fine. You want to have whatever desserts, that's fine. Some people are going to be drinking. It's about being able to have fun, but then be able to get back on track. And again, getting back on track after a holiday can be very challenging. So part of the ways of doing that is, like I said, have a plan of what you're going to eat the day after the holiday. Now, if you're the host, because this happened to me before, when I would host parties, guess who gets the leftovers? They're in my fridge. I try to give them away, but I'll have all these leftovers. And the food I cook or I'll have at at the celebration won't necessarily be healthier foods that you can have afterwards. So eating healthy after the holidays is really tricky, but having food on hand that makes it easy for you to put stuff together, because normally when people are celebrating, so Canada Day or July 4th, we don't want to spend a lot of time in the kitchen afterwards, because after celebrating, it's just getting back into the routine, whether it's the work or whatever your schedule might be. It's getting back into the regular weekly routine. So instead of the weekly routine starting on a Monday, well, it did for us, for Canadians, but for the Americans, you guys likely have today off. So it's about saying, okay, Monday, July 4th is a holiday. Tuesday is the first day of the week. So we're usually in a scramble to get back into a schedule to be able to get back on track. So usually we do leftovers. We'll do something quick. So I tell people is when you have a holiday, try to plan ahead of time what you're going to eat afterwards and get some, healthy choices. Now, I would say make a bargain with yourself. Here's the thing. A lot of times people are like, okay, I ate so much and I gained so much weight from this holiday. It was fun, but I gained weight. And then they think they have to eat clean and perfectly for the full week after that. The problem with that, now some people have the resolve to do that, the mental resolve. If you do not, do this mental trick with yourself. What I want you to do is say, I want to get 2 clean days, meaning whatever you plan to eat, whether it's chicken, the fish, whatever veggies, you get some rice or potatoes or something like that, some healthy foods in there, and also some healthy fats like avocados or nuts or stuff like that. After you do 2 really good days and you plan what those meals are going to be ahead of time, and you follow that for 2 days, on the 3rd day, I want you to have a small cheat. And when I say cheat meals, I don't mean go crazy. I would say try to keep within, not going too crazy. Or what you can do is when you're able to stay on track, like I said, give yourself a little it's almost like, when we start doing really well, we sabotage ourselves. And I want you to be able to, like I said, enjoy yourself, eat the clean, get back on track, but reward yourself. You just did 2 days, especially after a holiday, really well, and give yourself that treat. Now, when you give yourself that treat, ideally, do it around dinner time. The reason why I say dinner time is because if you tend, let's say you want to do a breakfast, you want to go to a breakfast that has, the works, okay, as far as, your pancakes and your bacon and all this other kind of stuff. Okay, the problem is when you have that at breakfast time, it's really hard to stay clean eating the rest of the day. Now, if possible, you can have your pancakes and your bacon, but have it at dinner time, if possible. If there are places that do that and they stay open that long, then do that, because like I said, when you have the cheat, it's like you open these floodgates, and then we get conditioned that when we let go, we totally let go. And what I want you to do is condition your brain and your body that, yes, you maybe let go for the Canada long weekend or the July 4th long weekend, but you did 2 days, a little reward. And then I want you to see if you can go 2 or even 3 days, and then another little reward. So if you can do that, that will help you get back on track, because what happens is that people will try to be good and they'll start eating, but then it's kind of like, oh, well, we have this left over and I don't want to throw that food out. Hello, I was one of those people. I hate throwing out food. I hate wasting food. Worst case scenario, you either try to give it away to a family member or neighbor, somebody, or you throw it out. I know it pains me to throw out food, especially the cost of food these days. But, I'm just trying to go over some tips that I think that could be helpful for people, especially, like I said, after the holiday weekend. If there is anyone who wants to ask any questions, just please put it in the chat, because this is just going to be a general question and answer. So again, I'm just going over some of the DMs that I received of people looking for answers for some of these things. So that talks a little bit about weight loss, let's say after a holiday. Now, let's say weight loss in general. Now, I could do like a full episode on that, but just, again, I want to get to some of the other questions. Weight loss in general is tough. The concept is pretty simple. Now, also, here's the other thing. It's a misnomer, weight loss. It's not weight we want to necessarily lose. It's the fat we want to lose. Because if you're a person who wants to gain some lean muscle tissue, now, I'm not saying you have to be a bodybuilder. You don't. But especially, let's say for women, we're prone to osteoporosis as we get older. We want to keep some of our, strength and our bone structure. It's really important to have some form of exercise. Most people know that. Weights helps for building lean muscle tissue. Cardio helps keeping your fat levels down. Most people know, again, that general sense. And to eat fairly clean. So the concept is very simple. But the execution of it, man, it's really hard. And what makes it hard? Okay, they do this in Canada, but when I go to the States, I see this more. So let me know if you experience this or not. Supersize. How many places do you go where it's cheaper if you buy the combo, whatever the combo is? I can pick on McDonald's or whatever, but when you go out to somewhere, and you supersize it. And for the amount of food, it's cheaper if you get the supersize versus the smaller size. So you think from a money standpoint, supersize it. And I don't know about you, but when I eat those fries, I don't leave any fries. I eat them all. So it's got to be, it's the culture. We're also, we've got food in front of us all the time. And we've been conditioned that, and I've been conditioned, so this is not just you guys, that every time there's a family gathering or any type of social gathering, what tends to be there? Food. When I go to the movies, it's been a long time, but when I go to the movies, food. I associate social gatherings with food, like movies and popcorn. Okay? And then some people get some candy and whatever. It's associated. Now, believe it or not, I went to the movies a long time ago. Actually, not that long ago. Before COVID, though. And I remember going to the movies, and because I was still in prep, I brought vegetables. So because I wanted to stay clean, didn't want to do the popcorn. Healthy eating is a lot of planning. So For me, I have to plan. If I go to the movies and don't bring food with me, like let's say something healthy, I'm gonna eat the popcorn. It's out of habit, right? And I don't know if you've ever done this, but ever gone to the movies and okay, I confess, I never get the regular size popcorn. I'm a small person. I get the big mother popcorn, the combo, the big combo. I'm not like a huge pop fan, but get the combo, like large popcorn, large pop. And you're eating this, mindless eating. Have you ever done this, mindless eating, and you're watching the movie? This is also why, it's hard. Why don't movie theaters have some healthier options? We've been trained, we've been programmed because there's not healthier options at the movie theater to have popcorn. Now, I'm not against people having popcorn, okay? Because actually popcorn isn't bad. But if you've ever gone to the movie theater, have you seen how they make popcorn? Yes, it's in that big air machine, but there's stuff they put in the kernels because it's not your plain popcorn. It's coated with stuff. Plus, they have these machines in the movie theaters where there's these almost like these tubs and with the squirt thing, and it puts extra butter on it. Now, I don't even know if it's real butter, but you can add so many calories onto that. It would be cool if there would be something with seasonings, various seasonings. Now, there's a popcorn store, because I do love popcorn. So I'm not saying popcorn is a bad thing. It's just the way it's presented. I don't know if you guys have this in the States, but there's a store called Kernels. This is a chain of what they do is they make popcorn and they do various seasonings. And you can buy it in these bags to take home with you. Now, they do have, they have like caramel also. They also have what I've done in the past is get not the butter, the double butter. And, so it's kind of like caramel, but I actually like it better. So it's like caramel popcorn. So you can get the unhealthier versions, but yeah, the ones with the seasoning, I think they have something like pina colada and they've got different, and again, it's air pop, so it's not a bad thing. But why can't, if we're going to have popcorn at the movies, why can't they have, let's say, flavorings versus all this heavily, whatever that grease they put it in? Because again, it doesn't taste like air pop popcorn. Plus, you get the vats with the butter. So we're raised in a society that's not exactly health conscious. I could do actually a little rant on our healthcare, on the government and how they really don't value healthcare because it puts the pharmaceutical companies out of business. But I'll leave that one out for now. But as far as being healthier, it's planning, guys. Honestly, it's planning. We can't wait for the world to do it for us. We have to do it. We have to take the power in our hands. Now, we might need tools on how to do that. We need some guidance and some accountability. It took me a long time to develop self-control when it comes to food. We're talking probably over 10 years. Yeah, I would say usually 10 years. So if you guys are still struggling, please don't be so hard on yourself because we are raised in a society that doesn't offer a lot of healthy options. And we've been conditioned, like I said, conditioned to go, for me, every time I go to a social gathering. Now, I'm not saying there aren't salads, but I do often get the other stuff, which is not the healthy stuff, but it's the yummy stuff. So it's about enjoying yourself. So if you want to go to those social gatherings, I'm not saying being a hermit, go to the social gatherings, but have a plan of what you're going to do after the gathering. Like the days after, like the 2 days. So a lot of times it's not just what you're having on a day-to-day basis. It's planning what you're going to do because we want this to be a lifestyle. Here's the thing about losing weight. Usually people are like, I'm at point A and I want to lose X number of pounds and that will be point B. Okay. So you have a goal. That's great. But then let's say you do, let's say with a lot of diligence and maybe you have some off days, but you're able to go back, you go back and I call it the zigzag, the cha-cha-cha thing, where you can make some progress, but then you kind of blow it by making some mistakes and you get back on track and but let's say you do get to your target weight. Okay, great. You made it to your target weight. You feel fantastic. You worked bloody hard for it. You planned. Okay, wonderful. Go ahead and give yourself a treat. But how do you maintain that? This is the other thing. How many diets do you know? Talk about what to do when you reach your target weight. Because one would think, it's like reading the book. If I finish the book, I'm done. If I got to my target weight, I'm done. I don't have to do anything. Here's the problem with that. When you get to your target goal of whatever the weight loss goal would be, it is really important to have a plan of how to maintain it. Why? Because that weight slowly creeps back up. So it's not an end goal. It's an actual, and I hate to say this, guys, it's a lifestyle. The lifestyle does not mean you have to be perfect. And this is the other thing I want you to be very careful. Social media will show you lots of people that look like they have the perfect lifestyle, meaning that they follow the healthy guidelines as far as they always eat healthy, they're always exercising, they're able to have awesome balance. And there are some people that are like that. However, most of those people, now filters aside, because there's a lot of filtering that happens on social media, but filters aside, they're not showing you everything. They're not showing you, I see, especially being in the bodybuilding industry, there are a lot of people, I see what they post and I know what they eat because I've seen them. So be careful who you listen to. And just because they have an easier time losing weight, the number of diets that I've followed, just trying to figure out what would work for me. I remember I followed this one guy, and I'd follow it, and I bought his program, how you could have a cheat day, not even a cheat meal, a cheat day, and how you can still lose weight. That fascinated me. I'm like, how could that happen? Okay. Can it happen? Yes. Can it happen for people like me? No. Why? Partly because I'm a female, partly because of my age, partly because I don't have a great metabolism, and I certainly don't have the genetics. Any progress I've made has taken me decades to get here, guys. The people that can have cheat days tend to be genetically gifted. So be careful who you listen to, because of course it's going to be easy for them. Of course they're going to be able to stay on track if they have a faster metabolism because they burn it. Well, that's great for them, but what about the rest of the people? What about the rest of the people who have slower metabolisms? I'm not saying you can't do anything to help yourself out to speed it up a little bit, but the only time I would have a cheat day, guys, is when I go through a prep for a competition. Because of the process that happens at the end of it, if the show is, let's say, on a Saturday, I'll have a cheat Saturday night when the show's done. I'll have a cheat day on Sunday because of where my body is really primed. But Monday, I am back on track, health, like as far as food, from a food perspective, and I usually get some cardio in. I usually try to give myself at least 2 days off from a show before I hit training the gym again. And when I hit training the gym, I don't necessarily go as hard as possible because I need my body to recover after what it just went through. But after maybe a few, maximum a week, and then I'm hitting it hard in the gym. So, again, it's the planning afterwards. Again, the cheat day only happens for me because of what our bodies go through as bodybuilders getting ready for a show. This is months for a lot of people. Now I still, when I see people post and they say, oh, I had an 8-week prep or a 12-week prep, I'm like, that's nice. You have a fast metabolism. Because my preps are usually, and they have been, anywhere between 20 and 24 weeks because my body takes a long time. Also, I don't take a ton of gear, so that helps too. For people who want to get ready fast, you take a lot of gear, sure. You're going to fry your insides. Potentially, you can cause yourself an early death, and if that's how you want to live your life, that's your choice. I want to live a long life. So, again, I don't want this necessarily to be about bodybuilding. It can be, but it doesn't have to be, because I appreciate not everyone's a bodybuilder. But to get from a healthier, when we look at healthier eating, It is about choices. Now, you might need help as far as how to put your food together. Now, if you're able to hire a coach to help you to put a meal plan together, a nutritionist or someone, either a nutritionist or even a coach in the bodybuilding industry. Again, you don't have to be a bodybuilder, but is really strong with nutrition. That would be great. And it can give you accountability, because when you have something coming up, like say a holiday, they can help plan, okay, maybe we'll reduce your carbs leading up to your holiday. You can enjoy the holiday, and this is what I want you to do after, to kind of minimize the effects of the holiday, but you can still enjoy that holiday. So accountability is really important, but knowledge, if you don't have that knowledge, hire someone, pay someone to get you on a meal plan and be accountable to them to keep you on track. The other thing is that if you don't have the money, because everything is so expensive, especially for a while, I use something called MyFitnessPal. Now, there's a free version. There's the paid version and the free version. What's the difference? The free version of MyFitnessPal has like all these ads that pop up, so they're a little annoying. If you can handle that, it's free. If you don't want the ads, then you pay for it. So you just have basically, for a lot of things, when you remove the ads, that's what you're paying for. But now, are there other programs out there? There might be. But when I was doing my nutrition way back before I started competing, that's what I was using as MyFitnessPal. So I would do certain percentage of my carbs, certain percent protein, certain percent fat, and I would go through all my meals. And also, guys, if you can, eating I eat six or 7 times a day, again, because I'm a bodybuilder. But for most people, I would say if you can get your breakfast, lunch, and dinner and 2 snacks in, that would be good. Not everyone has the time, though, to be able, let's say you work a job and you're, let's say, on your feet all the time and you don't get a lot of breaks. Bring yourself a protein shake that you can drink. So at least if you're on the job or at your desk, you can at least have something and get some nutrients in. You can actually add some, like a lot of, you can actually have some stuff that's some carbs in there too. But again, healthy fat. Be careful when people say the word fat. We usually kind of recline and go, oh, that's an ugly word. We actually, just so you guys know, you actually need fat to burn fat. So now, I'm not saying just have anything. I'm not saying have bacon, okay? I would love bacon, but no, don't have bacon. If you're going to have healthy fat, have something like almonds. I have avocado. I love avocado, unrefined virgin. Coconut oil is really awesome. When you do olive oil, guys, be careful. Be careful. A lot of olive oil isn't that pure. And also never cook with it. Never cook with olive oil, because when it gets to that heating, when you cook with something, when you get to a temperature, it basically burns all the any kind of nutritional value in the olive oil is burned out. So olive oil is good more on a salad, so keep it cold. If you're going to heat and, let's say, spray the pan, use something like coconut oil, okay? Canola oil, please stay away from that. Please, it's so not healthy. One other tip, table salt. Please remove table salt if you can. Get the Himalayan pink sea salt. It's a lot healthier for you. Again, just quick little tips. And again, if anyone has any questions, please post them in the chat. I'm happy to address those, especially if they're food related. Now, another of the questions I did receive on Instagram was, how do I use anxiety for me rather than against me? Anxiety is huge. It's actually a huge topic. So the thing is that keep in mind, what is the purpose of anxiety? Believe it or not, there's a purpose. Because a lot of times, I'm also a psychotherapist, so a lot of people say, why do we have anxiety? It's a negative thing. And I'm saying, well, anxiety isn't always negative. So bear with me here. If I had a magic wand and I was able to wave my magic wand and say, okay, I'm going to remove all anxiety from your life, you might be great. Okay. I don't know if you'd be alive in 24, 48 hours, because we need some level of anxiety. And I'm assuming okay, that you're not, I'm not talking about, you're in an unsafe environment per se, but even just crossing the road. If you're walking, you're crossing the road. Most people will look both ways before crossing the road. That means that there's a small level of anxiety to say, hey, you could potentially be hit because someone may not be paying attention. Or there could be, let's say, someone on a bike speeding down the pavement. And if you don't look both ways, you're going to collide into them. All right, so let's talk about anxiety. We need a small level of anxiety to stay alive and be alert and keep us on our toes. There's also something called adrenaline. Okay? Athletes go through this all the time. I know I go through it. I don't tend to sleep well before the show because I'm so excited for the show. So it's a nervous but positive excitement because I know I did so much work and I'm looking forward to going on stage. But is it anxiety provoking? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because it's kind of like, okay, I hope I don't fall. Like I did this early when I started competing. I was like, oh, I hope I don't fall on stage. And I was also in figure. I compete in women's physique and I used to do figure and I used to wear these high heels and I'm like, okay, I'm vertically challenged. So I'm 5 foot on a good day. So when I was wearing these heels, I was praying I was not going to fall because I don't tend to wear heels. I'm one of those people who wears sandals or boots. Sandals in the summertime, boots in the wintertime. And I wear running shoes in the gym. That's my footwear. That's my footwear. I don't wear loafers or stuff like that. I just keep it simple. But anxiety for me is, let's say before the show, the anxiety helps me that despite not sleeping well the night before a show, the adrenaline of the show keeps me up. The adrenaline helps keep me alert and awake and pumped up and focused. So it can be good, despite not having a good night's sleep. I know a lot of students. When I went to school for a long time, I would study, be one of those nerds, I would study. But the night before the exam, I was always nervous and I didn't sleep. So I was like, what happens if they ask me a question I didn't study for? Or I didn't, I would have these dreams, and we can actually talk about dreams in a second. But I would have these dreams that I would write this exam and I would blank out. Like I would sit down at my little student desk, get the exam handed to me by the teacher. I'd turn it over and I'm like, what is this? And I wouldn't even recognize it. It didn't even look like the same topic or the same subject I was studying for. I would have these dreams about this. And I would actually sometimes I'd have dreams about going on stage and forgetting my posing or whatever it was. I would always forget something. So it's really weird how anxiety goes into your dreams. But again, it can actually propel you when you wake up and let's say you do an all-nighter. Have you ever done an all-nighter? You wake up the next day and you're so groggy and you're like, how do I get through this? Some people will have an espresso or get some caffeine in them or an energy drink. And then again, the adrenaline gets them going. I was really tired last night and I was doing legs today. I had a 3-hour leg session at the gym today. Now that when I say 3 hours sounds a lot, but it's not really because it's really only 2 hours of legs. That includes my warm-up, that include like all my warm-up sets, that includes my stretching, that includes my physio exercises. I do rumble rolling at the end, like it includes everything. So believe it or not, that takes 3 hours. So every time I do leg day, I'm not necessarily excited. I'll tell you right now, there's a little bit of dread because I know what's coming. But the thing is that there's a mix because it's kind of like I always feel good after I go to the gym, whatever the day is. And when I did legs, like I can still feel my legs. I'm going to really feel them tomorrow and actually the second day after. But that's good. As long as it's not pain, it's just soreness. But it's the anxiety, almost the anticipation of something. Now, let's talk about other anxiety. Let's talk about some unhealthy anxiety. We're talking about stuff when we feel a loss of control. And you don't have to be a control freak, but when things happen, let's say life throws curveballs all the time. So when life throws a curveball and you're like, what do I do with this? And you try to figure it out and you're not sure what to do, or something unexpected happens, it unsettles us. And then we feel anxiety because we don't know what to do. And what happens? We become that deer in the headlights, that we get frozen. We can't think straight. And then we have to be able to process, what do we do next? If you ever speak to first responders, though, people like 911 operators, or sorry, not 911, the guys who go in the ambulance, they're so used to being calm, rational, what needs to be done, what's the problem, identify the problem, and what do we need to do right now about it. They're very methodical. This takes practice. They get lots of practice. It's important to be able to I would say the word ground. I don't know if you guys know what I mean. If I say ground yourself, when you have a lot of anxiety, and let's say, I'm not saying quite a panic attack, but your heart starts, pounding, your breathing becomes more shallow, so you're breathing faster. What I want you to do, first thing is I want you to do some deep breathing. So if you've ever done yoga, when you take a deep breath, normally when you take a deep breath in, your tummy comes in when you breathe in, and when you exhale, your tummy comes out. When you do yoga, when you breathe in, I want you to expand your belly out. And then when you exhale, your tummy comes back to normal. This takes practice. Believe it or not, this is what babies do when they sleep. In fact, I would encourage people, as one of the sleep management techniques, for when people tell me, how do I not be able to, I can't fall asleep, Lesley. Okay, we'll talk about how to get yourself in a sleep management schedule. And part of that is relaxation. We're not very good at being relaxed. Okay, we're really good about being, in a rush. We're like chickens with our head cut off. We're like running around all the time, trying to get stuff done, and there's always more stuff coming on. That's anxiety, because we feel overwhelmed. So what do you do when you feel overwhelmed? Center yourself, ground yourself, do some deep breathing, reevaluate, saying, what do I need to do right now? If there's something urgent, if the house is on fire, chances are you need to get your ass out of the house. And if there's anyone else there, get them out too, if you can. Obviously, you're going to call 911, or hopefully if anyone notices that there's a fire in your house, a neighbor, that they'll be calling 911 too. But again, it's trying to find out, what do you need to do right then and there? Now, it doesn't have to be life or death. You can have a lot of anxiety, let's say, about in-laws. Okay, I'm going to pick on the holiday weekend again. And it's fun to get together with family, but sometimes when there's, like I was saying, that there's food, there can also be alcohol. And sometimes there's members of the family or friends or neighbors that when they have a little bit too much to drink, they're not the nicest people to be around. And they might have a history of not behaving well around other people, and you might dread being around them. Or they can become very crass, or it's just very disrespectful towards people. That can create anxiety. So what do? If they're going to be there, now, okay, let's look at this if you're the host versus if you're not the host. If you're a guest and you don't feel comfortable, if there's a way you can be in a different section of, let's say, if this is someone's backyard as an example, a barbecue, if you can be in a different area and socialize, do that. But if it's a smaller place and you're in the same vicinity and it's bothering you, you have the choice to leave. It's unfortunate you have to leave and they don't. You could also talk to the host, depending on how you feel comfortable, to ask them, to let them know what's going on, because maybe the host doesn't realize that this particular person is acting up, because then they can intercede and they might be able to ask them to leave or put them in a an Uber to go home. Now, let's say you're the host. If you're the host and you've got someone that's acting out, chances are that person acting out didn't come to the party by themselves or didn't come to the gathering by themselves. You'd have the person who they came with talk to them to see if they can kind of get them calmed down or remove them from the situation. And if you have to, depending on how rowdy they get, you try to do as much as you can without the police. But if they get really out of hand, you got to call the police and get them removed. Then it doesn't become safe for anybody, especially if you have a pool. It's just not safe, guys. Now, if there's particular situations that you're struggling with when it comes to anxiety, because anxiety is such a massive topic, I could spend months talking about different situations with anxiety. But what I'd rather do is, if you guys can post in the chat or post below. So for people who are going to watch this after the fact, post below so I can make sure I answer your question. Either I'll answer it in the comments below after this video goes up, or I'll do a separate video addressing this, okay? Because it's really important. I want to be able to address your questions. So anxiety working for you rather than against you, part of that adrenaline. And here's the thing, there's going to be anxiety in our life to some degree. It's also managing to saying, how do you prepare so you can be mentally stronger to deal with anxiety? How can you be more resilient? And a lot of times it's knowing when we're feeling overwhelmed, what's my go-to? So if you drive a car, you might have a spare tire. If you go on a camping trip, you probably have a first aid kit. You're hoping you don't blow a tire. You're hoping no one gets hurt on the camping trip or whatever, but you have it just in case. I would want to either you develop a strategy or help you work with a strategy on whatever issue that's giving you so much anxiety, to put something in place that the next time it happens, rather than dreading, oh, I hope this doesn't happen, it's well, if this happens, I know exactly what to do. Here's my strategies. That can be empowering, because we can't stop anxiety from happening. We can stop how we respond to the degree we are and be able to manage our anxiety. And with that resilience, we're going to have more confidence. And it's not that we're necessarily saying, yeah, bring on the anxiety, but we're going to feel a lot more confident, but I can deal with this. I've been through this before. Okay. Again, we can talk a little bit more about the anxiety. If you guys present some particular situations, I can address them. So another one of the questions I received on the Instagram was, let's see. Oh, how not to lose it when in prep. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so I'm not sure how many people are bodybuilders that are watching this, so I can definitely go at length, but I'm going to keep this brief just because I want to be able to address some of the other questions. How to not lose it when you're in prep. I think it's really important to realize, as long as you have a good coach who knows what they're doing, talk to your coach. If you're losing it when you're in prep, let's look about what is making you lose it. Is it that you're on too much gear, or your gear is too high, the dosages are too high? Because some people even can have low dosages and their body just does not respond well to it. So they become either more anxious, they can be more angry, it can, all that kind of stuff. Now, let's say you don't even have to be on any gear and you can lose it. Why? Because the diet is hard, guys. Bodybuilding, when it comes to the competition diet, it's bloody hard. So when you're on low carbs, I tell people all the time, there's a huge correlation between carbohydrates, even the good ones, even like rice and potatoes, and your mood. I was recently on keto for almost 3 weeks. So now I'm just literally today, I started back on a low carb plan, and I'm already a little happier because of the carbs. It's not a lot, but carbs make me happy. What can I say? It gives me energy. I can push more weight in the gym. When I was on keto, I couldn't push the weight in the gym like I wanted to. Michael, welcome. Just finished leg training. Michael, were you here earlier when I said I did leg training and I spent 3 hours in the gym today? How long was your leg training? And by the way, if we do have some people who are bodybuilders or people who do train, I have a question for you guys. What's your favorite body part to train? I'm always curious. So if you're in the chat or if you're listening to this, let me know what's your favorite body part. Just turned in about an hour of okay, cool. So you can always listen back to this, but now when you said leg training, I do 2 leg training days a week. So I do like a quad dominant day and then a hamstring dominant day. But do you have them on once a week? I'm curious, or do you do legs twice? Like what were your workouts like? And again, what's your favorite body part to train? Actually, what's your favorite body part to train? What's your least favorite body part to train? And this is for anyone in the chat. So while you guys are answering that, I'm gonna say something about how not to lose it when in prep. So I was talking about low carbs, because when you don't have a lot of carbs, it can affect your mood because you don't have the energy, so you can't put up with bullshit as much. Okay, so like there was no, I don't lose it very often. In fact, I can count the number of times I've ever lost in prep, and I've done, I don't know, 15 shows, 15, 16, 17, I think 15. No, I think it was supposed to be, because 2 of my shows last year got canceled because of COVID. So I think it was 15. I've done 15 shows, but I will do 2 more before the end of the year. How not to lose it. It's important to remember why you're doing this. Sometimes you'll go through a prep saying, why am I doing this? I do that all the time. When I get really low on carbs and I'm really close to show, I'm like, why am I doing this to myself again? So understand what the why is. And it's not just to win the show or win your pro card. There's got to be a deeper why that keeps you connected. And knowing that there is an end date. And because I've competed before, I'm like, I've done this before. I've been down this road. I know it's tough, but I can persevere. And sometimes it's literally going meal by meal. And I'm literally counting the time until my next meal because I'm so bloody hungry at that point in my prep. But I want to split arms. Okay. Okay, on leg day. Okay, cool. Split arms, yeah. Chest and shoulder are my favorite because I love the look of it. Okay, yeah. Yeah, chest and shoulder. That's pretty cool. So Michael, do you compete or have you ever competed? Just curious. And again, I'm going to give you time to answer. Let me go back to the how not to lose it when you're in prep. It also helps to understand, have someone you can actually bitch to, okay? So friends don't always understand, especially if they've never competed or they don't get it. Coaches usually do. Now, coaches don't always have time. So it's important to, say there's people. Now, I go to a really good gym in Canada, in Burlington, Ontario, called Pure Muscle and Fitness. Now, that gym is full of bodybuilders, but there's a lot of people just want to get fit. They have no desire to ever stand on stage. There are people who are moms that, let's say, they still have young kids and they're just trying to get back in shape. And everyone's really respectful to really, it's a cool gym and it has amazing equipment. I think they have like over 12 leg presses easily. Actually, probably 15. Actually, I should count it. They have so many leg presses in that gym. You would love it, actually, Michael. If you love leg day, if you enjoy leg day, and I say enjoy because it's usually it's a love-hate relationship with leg day sometimes. The variety of leg machine for equipment at Pure Muscle and Fitness in Burlington is really good. So now where are you from, Michael? Just out of curiosity, I'm from Canada. Okay, let me get back to I did one natural show in 2007, then I fell off the rails for a decade. I got back into training, but good for you. Oh, you got back into training when COVID hit. I have thought about getting back on stage at 45 years old next year. Michael, I just turned 54. So let's turn that. I'm turning the 45 to 54 and I'm still competing. So dude, natural show in 2007. Okay, what category, just out of curiosity, when you were at 2007, what category did you compete in? And I think it's awesome that you did natural. I was natural I'm not natural anymore, but I did natural for a long time. From Columbus, Ohio, living in Orlando, Florida. Oh, cool. Columbus, Ohio. I did the Arnolds in Columbus in 2020. Living in Orlando, Florida. You know what, Michael? Do you like living in Orlando? Just curious. Because I'm from Canada. You're a welterweight at 5'9" F1. Okay. That's awesome. Because at some point I want to move to the States. And I'm looking at Vegas because that's become the bodybuilding capital of the world. I'm also looking at Florida, but I'm also looking at Texas. So I was just curious, what do you guys, if you guys have a preference, let me know of where you live and if you like living there and why you like living there. So wherever I live has to have a really good gym. That's one really thing. And ideally, not the freaking taxes that we Canadians have to pay. It's just ridiculous. I want low taxes. I've had enough snow for my lifetime. Michael, oh my gosh, Columbus, yeah. When I did the Columbus show, it was snowing in March. Mind you, I'm from Canada and we get a lot of snow too. Not right now because we're in the summer months, but it's cold. But I know Columbus can get really cold too. So this is also why I want to move because to the States, because in the South, because I'm tired of snow too. Snow is something I will go and visit. So I will visit some friends and family in Canada, in the wintertime. But I would rather them come visit me when I do move to the States one day. But yeah, if you like Orlando, what's your gym that you train at in Orlando? I'm thinking about, honestly, this is my priority. Where I'm going to live has to have a good gym. I love the ocean. Yeah. So having that an hour away is good. Florida has no state income taxes. That would be so lovely. I cannot imagine a world with no state taxes. That blows my mind. Maybe I should move to Florida. I hear Vegas. I think Texas is like that too. I'm not sure about Vegas. Yeah, I see Antoine actually. Antoine is such an amazing guy. He reminds me of a bulldog in the respect of he's been through a lot. I'm not sure how much you know about his story, but Antoine has been through a lot and he still perseveres. He still perseveres. And I saw actually today, I don't know if you know Quentin Aria. Oh my gosh, that dude is he's getting I forget which show he's doing, but he's dialing in. Like he's looking so lean and so muscular. His shape, I love his shape. I see him, honestly, guys, I'm not saying this because I'm Canadian or because I'm at the same gym as Quentin. I see Quentin at the Olympia, and potentially winning it one day. He reminds me like his muscle bellies, and again, his structure is so pretty. It's so, and he's got a good V taper. Like he's building on his density. Again, with time, I don't know. I can see Quentin being the future Olympian, future of Mr. Olympia. I really do. NH property, they suck there, eh? Going Dark. Welcome, Going Dark, by the way. Fitness CF used to be gold. Okay. All right. Is it a good gym, Michael? You enjoy going there? He's a hero. Yeah. I don't blame you, Going Dark. He is. Yeah, he's in yeah, he is awesome. Centopani circles. I haven't had a chance. If I had more time, I would check those out. I've heard about this because I also Fuad Abiad, I'm sure you've heard of him. So he has this amazing podcast. If you haven't had a chance to watch him, I strongly suggest you do. He's a Canadian as well. He's just killing it in the bodybuilding podcast world, and he's got a lot of these guys on. It's really interesting to see and actually hear. I always kind of wanted to know what guys talk about in the locker room. Now I know, just watching the show. But it's hilarious. It makes me laugh. But there's a lot of good bodybuilders. And when I say good bodybuilders, I don't mean just from the outside, from their physique. I'm talking about inside, like their heart, and they have a real passion, not just for the sport, but they want to help people, and that's one of the things. If you guys don't know Fouad Abiad, again, it's Fouad. Abiad is Abiad. Really check out his channel, because, what he wanted to do is bring, the audience, to introduce them to what the athletes are like. Because before, they used to be the magazines and you'd be able to read them, but now you can actually hear and watch them talk and get an idea of their personality. So we get to kind of know these bodybuilders. Like, we don't know them, but we kind of get to feel like we do know them through these podcasts. And I think, Fouad is doing an amazing job, just an amazing job. The Orlando one is good. They just added a bunch of equipment, opened a couple of new years. Okay, a lot of big bodybuilders, and men and women. Yeah. So, Michael, who are some of the bigger names at your gym right now? And Going Dark, have you ever competed, by the way? Or are you just into fitness? And as you guys are answering that, I'm trying to still go back to how not to lose it when you're in prep, because it's tricky. It's holding on to why you're still competing, knowing it's not going to be forever. Having distractions is really important, because usually when we're trying not to lose it, it's the pressure that's getting to us. And just like if you ever blow up a balloon, remember as a kid, you used to blow up a balloon, and as you put more air into this, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. At some point, if you keep blowing into this balloon, eventually it will pop, because it can only handle so much. And that's also like us as bodybuilders. When we're in prep, we can handle a lot, but then now some people have smaller balloons than others. But as far as tolerance to deal with, even it could be little annoyances, like putting the dumbbells back in the rack, and people are putting them back in the wrong spot. So they'll put, like, let's say the 50s where the 20 should be, and the 20 pounds, I don't even know where they are. They're somewhere on the floor. So it's little annoyances are kind of like, okay, you just kind of like grin and bear it. But when you're in prep, it's like, please, people, have some respect. And you can get kind of angry about that sometimes. Sometimes I get not angry, but it's just more annoyance, just a nuisance. So how not to lose in a prep, I think it's good to be able to release that. It's kind of like if you put a little pinprick in that balloon, or what you do is you open up, I don't know what the part that you blow into the balloon, I call it the button. Do you know what I'm talking about when you blow into the balloon? If you release a little pressure, little air out, then the balloon comes down. And sometimes that's what we need. We need to relieve some of that pressure when it's built up, so we don't take it out on other people. And one way of doing that is being able to get distracted and do other things. And that could be food prep. That could be watching Netflix. That could be, getting some physio or some, in Canada, we call them RMTs, registered massage therapists. But I think in the US it's LMT, so licensed massage therapists. Need to have some outlets, definitely, to be able to do that and talk to somebody. I think it's really important to talk, but it has to be the right people. People who are not empathetic when it comes to bodybuilding, don't talk to them. And you may need to talk to a coach or a therapist like myself to help you be able to fine-tune some strategies so you don't lose it. But again, it's important to understand why you're losing it. Again, is it the gear? Is it the low carbs? Is it the pressure? Because the solution is going to be based on all of those kinds of things. And it could be a combination. So as far as how not to lose it in prep, it's having a repertoire of things that you can do once you figure out what the cause is. And like I said, if you need help, hire someone like myself, who's a therapist. I also happen to be a bodybuilder and a mental game coach that can help you with those kinds of things, that can really tailor it to your situation. Okay, so Going Dark. No, I'm not ready for that yet. Maybe someday then. Okay, that's fine. And keep in mind, Going Dark, when I put that out there, it doesn't mean you have to compete. I was just curious, because some people, they've been thinking about competing and they think they might do it one day. And others are like, you know what? Competing is not for me, but I do love going to the gym, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, so the biggest name lately was Hassan. Okay, was in town to win. Okay, yeah. You know what? I was when I was in Vegas training at the Dragon's Lair, Hassan was there for a while training, and he's he's his legs are massive. So when you saw him, Michael, in person, I can only imagine what his legs were like. 'Cause I remember what they were like in Vegas when I saw them. So I can only imagine they're only getting bigger. I don't know these big guys' names. I'm not sure how many, but yeah. Okay. Going for walks, yeah. Going for walks are always good. Going for walks is a great stress relief, actually. It's actually going for walks is good for your digestive system too. So I was talking earlier about holidays, about for Canada, for Canadians, we just had Canada Day. For you guys, again, happy July 4th to you guys, to my American friends and audiences. So, it helps digestion when you go for a walk. Now, what do we normally do when we want to eat? I'll tell you right now, if I have a full belly, I want a nap. That's not usually the best thing to do, but that's what I want. So when I have my little food, I call it my food baby or my food twins, because when I eat a lot, you know, when I allow myself and if I plan for it and I get my coach's permission and I get this little food baby, it helps your circulation, helps the digestion process to walk. So I think going for a walk is great for digestion as well as for stress management purposes. Getting outside can be really good too, instead of being inside. Getting that fresh air is also very beneficial. I think that's a great idea. Thank you, Going Dark. I have 2 gym memberships. Oh, I did that too before. Okay, fitness CF is regional. Okay, 5 gyms total. 5. LA Fitness, which is a national membership, both membership. Okay. LA, okay. Tendon issues are what keeps setting me back. It's been a major obstacle these past 2 years. Tendon issues, yes. Going Dark, I cannot wait until, have you heard of stem cell research? Stem cells. Do they have that? I don't know if they have it in the States. I know they have it in, where is it? Not Mexico. I'm trying to remember. Was it Mexico? I'm trying to remember. But it'd be nice for them to bring it to Canada and the States, basically North America stem cells, and to make it affordable. Because when we get these injuries, it's really easy to get re-injured, and it's never as strong as it was before. Because I've had shoulder issues. I've had PRP done twice on my shoulder, twice on my hamstring, once on my hip flexor. So yeah, I understand joints. In fact, my knees, I'm doing fasted cardio. And I told my coach I can't do more than 45 minutes right now because it starts to aggravate my knee. So I'm working with a physiotherapist and an osteopath to help work on it so I can increase my cardio. So I understand tendon issues are definitely very problematic. It takes a long time. It does take a long time. But I'm glad you haven't given up, Going Dark. You're doing what you can, and that's all you can do. You can focus on what you can do, not what you can't do. His back is huge. Michael, are you talking about Hassan? Yeah. Panama. Going Dark, Panama. What did I say? Panama. You want to go to Panama? Sorry, Going Dark, help me out when you said Panama. Oh, sorry. Panama. Okay, Hassan, yeah, he has a big back. There's no question. Like I said, I saw him train at in Vegas, but that was back in, I left Vegas in February. Now, was he there in February or January? I know I saw him leading up to the Olympia because I was there. I was at the Dragon's Lair for 6 months in Vegas, so I saw Hassan there among a whole bunch of other amazing athletes. Oh, Panama, that's where the stem cells are. Thank you, Going Dark. Thank you. Is that the only place that offers the stem cells right now? Is Panama, or is there anywhere else that does? I would love Yeah, they do need to bring. I wish it was affordable. Yeah, my understanding is very, very expensive. You probably know that Flex Lewis had stem cells done, and I think they sponsored him to to get the work done that he needed. He had a lot of injuries, and then Germany maybe. Okay, but I agree. I wish stem cells were one available, two affordable to everyone. I know that's a big ask, but I'm hoping one day that will happen. Because to be able to be active and to do what you want to do and not worry about your joints or, let's say past injuries, that would be lovely. That would be really lovely, actually. That would be like the fountain of youth, wouldn't it? So what's another? Now, if you guys have any questions, like I said, post them in the chat because I'm happy to address them. These are just kind of a general Q&A today. Of stuff that people asked me on my Instagram. No, another person said, what about binge eating or bulimia developing after contest prep? Okay, so if you have an eating disorder, it usually doesn't happen after you do a prep. It was there before. Now, prep can exacerbate it too. But if you've done a show, it's not that, people necessarily develop an eating disorder because they were competing. Like I said, there's underlying causes of eating disorders, but it's usually, like I said, because of the ages that, people are competing at, the disorder would be there beforehand. Now, sometimes people use these eating disorders and mask them. Let's say, I'm just, as an example, a lot of bikini competitors, not all, definitely not all, but there are bikini competitors who have issues with eating and not eating healthy, and they go on a prep to try to be in shape. But then after the prep or their show is done, now I'm not saying indulge just after the show, because I do that too, but it's like a week, or it could be 2 weeks, or it's really hard for them to get back into it, or they do what we call binge and purge. So that means what they would do is they stuff their faces with whatever, and then they throw it up so that they don't keep those calories. Well, don't know if you guys know this, but when you throw up, there's acid in there. Guess what happens? It gets in your teeth. You can damage your teeth that way. So there's enough expensive things in this world. The last thing you need to do is pay a dental bill that you don't want and that you don't necessarily need to do. So try not to throw up. Try not to go through that. But again, we can go, for people who do have eating disorders, like I said, there's underlying causes, and I can go into those a bit more detail with you guys if I have someone who's interested in that. But as far as people, I think, what's more important is after doing a show, you get yourself looking in the best condition you've ever looked in. You indulge, but then you have a hard time get back on track. I think that's more common. I'm not saying eating disorders aren't common. I'm saying eating disorders developing after, just because you did a show, isn't as common as people who have a hard time after a show getting back into a healthier swing of things. I think that's healthier, or sorry, that's more common. And a lot of things, if you have a coach that is a good coach, they'll help you do something called reverse dieting as one of, and there's a few examples of what you can do. All reverse dieting means is that because you deprived your body a long time of certain foods, you're going to build it back up, assuming you don't have another show, or let's say you want to retire from bodybuilding, or you're not sure about when you're going to do another show, but it won't be for a while. You just want to get back into healthier eating, but have some indulgences. It's about slowly adding carbs back into your diet versus, okay, let me just eat the way I was in my off season right off the bat. No, you're going to blow your stomach out. Slowly bring them back in for a period of time, and you can build and build and build for sure. Because there's this, what we call, I don't know if you've heard these terms, clean bulking and dirty bulking. Clean bulking means that you're eating more foods, but they're good foods. They could be increasing your protein intake, whether it be your chicken, your steak, your eggs, your fish, your whatever. Or let's say your carbs, like your rice, your potatoes. Some people have sweet potatoes. You just might have more of that. So that's just what you're eating, but just a little bit more quantities. That's more clean bulking. Dirty bulking is when people will do more of, let's say, the burgers and fries. There's people who will do or heavier junk food. That's more of the dirty bulk. And yes, to put on size, yes, you want to add more weight, but it's harder to get it off. And some people have a much harder time getting it off. For Hassan, we saw what happened to him last year. It broke my heart because I saw how hard he was working. It's not that he wasn't trying. His body was not responding. And I think, just doing too many shows can have that effect. I know it does on me. If I do too many shows, my body does not respond now. Well, now some people, I'm not saying that's the case for everybody. If you know Ian Valier, he gets actually better when he does more shows. And that's great. I'm saying pay attention to what works for you. So what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another person. But, sorry, I got off topic here. The eating piece, how to get back on track and slowly increase your carbs. You can add your cheat meal. When you're in your off season, you can have a cheat meal every week. You might be able to have 2 cheat meals every week. But try to, have a plan. A lot of times it's that whole, I'm sure you've heard this expression before. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So if you fail to plan what you're going to do after the show, then you're not going to, it's just kind of like, if I don't plan what I'm going to eat, where are you going to go? In your cupboards, and it means you want something that's more appealing versus chicken and rice, because you've been eating chicken and rice for the past how many months? You see a bag of chips, I'm like, let's get the chicken and rice and go for the chips. All right, that might be one of your cheats then, but let's get some clean eating in. So it's, again, it's having a plan, but also the accountability. So I usually encourage people, if you hire a coach, which I would recommend anyway, especially if you're doing a show, then have the coach not just take you up to the show, but at least a week after the show, they can help keep you accountable for how you're starting. Because that 1 week after the show is probably the toughest. It's the toughest because now it's like the show's over. I don't have to look good. You haven't eaten so much yummy food. You get this taste. Now, for me, it's sugar. For other people, it's going to be other things. But I get a taste of sugar, and it just opens the floodgates, and then I just want to go crazy. Now, I've learned over the years to bring it back, and I know how to bring it back. But I also had to be accountable to someone. For me, it was a coach to kind of keep me on track so I wouldn't go over. Because if I'm accountable just to myself, I'm like, what's an extra, turtle here, turtle there. I'm talking about one of those chocolate turtles. But it's important to be accountable, guys. I think it's really, really important. But it's important to have a plan as well. See if there's anything else in the chat. What do you think about healing peptides? Okay, just so you go, oh no, I've heard of these. Now, I tried 2 peptides. I'm trying to remember what they were. They were for healing purposes, but I didn't find it worked. Now, whether because it didn't work because it wouldn't work for me, because again, remember, whether they're peptides, certain things will have stronger or better results than others, or maybe my sources weren't as clean as they should have been as far as where I got them. But I never found a positive response. I didn't feel like it made a significant response for me, at least personally. Currently using DECA and find it's more effective. Yeah. See, here's the thing. I'm limited on the gear knowledge because I'm still fairly new to using gear. And the gear that I have used, it's, again, I can tell you, based on my experience, the compounds I've used, but I haven't used all the stuff that's out there, and I'm certainly not using big doses. But if you want okay, so there's another bodybuilding channel, Think Big Think Big Bodybuilding. And with Scott, so Scott McNally is the host. And he has these two guys. Oh, shoot, what's his name? Is it Dave Crossland? And then there's another guy. He's also really brilliant when it comes to like drugs and stuff. If you look up Think Big Bodybuilding, drugs and stuff, and if you can't find it, shoot me a message on my Instagram and I'll find the link to give you the podcast, because if you want to ask any gear related questions, these guys are really smart. They know what they're talking about. So they would be better at answering your question, because I just don't want to give you incomplete answers, especially if I don't know enough about this stuff. I'm no expert on gear, by the way. But yeah, send me a message if you don't find it. Think Big Bodybuilding, drugs and stuff. Look at that. And if you can't find it, send me a DM and I'll find that link for you. My goal is to get down under 10% body fat and stay there for lifestyle goals. Michael, I think that's a great goal. Great goal. Same here, Michael. I'm probably at 12%. Okay, losing that last bit, covering my lower abs has been difficult. The abs are so bloody hard, aren't they? That's the last, for me, I think losing the fat in the abs is the last place I lose fat. It's tough. It's really tough. But consistency, guys. Not perfection. Here's the thing. Don't get caught up in the I have to be perfect. It's when you're not perfect, because you're a human being. By definition, human beings are not perfect. So when we're not perfect, how fast can you get back on track? That's what I want you guys to focus on. Not the, oh crap, I just messed it up because I did this. No, let's see how fast you can get back on track. That's where I want your focus to be on. I want your focus forward. What can you do now? Not what the shit that you just did. Okay. All right. So the other thing is, last time I cut hard is when I got injured, and so I caved. I ended up bringing 10,000 calories in about 4 hours. It was ridiculous. Going dark, I don't even know. I should actually, what I used to do in my beginning years after a show, the amount of calories, my coach cannot believe the amount of calories I can consume. If I'm allowed, if he just say, Lesley, enjoy the day, like just go crazy. First of all, he would never say that. But even on the times that he did, I said, you have to be more specific what I can and cannot do, because I know myself. So I'm very communicative with and I'm very upfront. I'm very honest with my coaches. So, they know that they have to have guidelines. And I ask for guidelines because I know myself, because I can go crazy. So the 10,000 calories does not scare me because of what I know I'm capable of eating. And I'm a little person. Again, on a good day, I'm 5 feet tall. So I can put away a lot. It's crazy. But do we want to eat 10,000 calories? Well, on some days, yes, I do. But I mean, no, it doesn't feel good. And usually those 10,000 calories are not the healthier calories. But it's about, again, we all mess up, guys. It's about getting back on track. It's to saying, how fast can I get back on track? And rather than kicking yourself in the ass to saying, oh, I'm such a loser. Why did I do that? That negative self-talk, get rid of it. It just keeps you in a really horrible mindset, is to saying, okay, I screwed up. Be honest, I screwed up. I ate 10,000 calories. All right, so now what am I going to do? Go forward. What's your game plan? Who are you going to be accountable to? That's what I want you to focus on, moving forward rather than looking behind you. Okay? So we've all messed up. So you're not alone. I don't know. This is called the world of being human. Humans are not perfect, but it's, again, getting back on track. Yeah, the drugs is a whole level. And again, going dark, I don't want to, I'm happy to talk about things, but I'm hesitant to talk about drugs just because I'm no expert on this. So I don't want to mislead you on anything. So that's why I'm kind of recommending other people that in the industry that I do respect, that I think that, could answer your question. So definitely good questions. I'm not saying don't ask them, but I'm just saying I'm not the expert, so I don't want to give you any misinformation. Thoughts on who has the biggest gut in bodybuilding? Okay, John. Hey, welcome back, John. Biggest gut in bodybuilding right now. Are you talking about open? John, are you talking about the open class, or are you talking, or just in general, anyone in bodybuilding? And are you talking about in the history, or are you talking about right now? And then while you guys are typing that out, let me see if I can get to another question. Oh, in general? Okay. Biggest gut. Let me think. See, I don't go to the 212 guys because they keep in really good shape. They have to. They have to all year round. They know how to do lean, what we call lean bulks, because they have to come in so tight. I don't know if you guys noticed, but the 212 guys are their shape and their structure and their conditioning is ridiculous. Mind you, the conditioning of Hadi is really amazing. I have a lot of respect for Hadi, and I was really rooting for him to win the Olympia. I'm not sure from a structure standpoint if he'll get there, but he is a monster, and he comes in so conditioned. He's really conditioned, like he's consistent. I really respect that. But I'm trying to think body, okay, guts. While I'm thinking, John, who do you think? And anyone else in the chat, who do you think has the biggest gut right now in bodybuilding that's competing? Let's talk about now. I think Dave Colombo. Do you mean Palumbo? Or is there a Dave Colombo? Is there a Dave Colombo? Or do you mean Palumbo? Oh, Palumbo. Right now, you think he has a big gut, or you mean before, back in the day? Because I also remember some other bodybuilders, and I remember the pictures, but I don't remember who it was. And they were on stage, and they weren't in a pose. They were transitioning into a next pose, and they let their stomach go, and I could not believe how big it was. And I'm trying to remember who it was. It wasn't the ones right now. This is probably about 5 or 10 years ago. But when they turned around, I was like, again, when they're transitioning. So anyone watching this, watch your gut the whole time you're on stage. It's hard, I know, because it's easy to let it go when you're doing transitions. You keep your midsection tight, even during your transitions from pose to pose. Contender, his proportions and condition. Going dark, I'm rooting for Hadi. I really am. Jason Genova, yeah. There's a few people I'm rooting for. Flex is retired. I was actually rooting for Flex because I wanted to see what he would look like as an open guy. But I understand his reasons why. And he's got so much stuff that's coming out, and I'm so excited to hear about it. And Big Lenny, yeah. Big Lenny definitely going dark. I wouldn't call Big Lenny a bodybuilder if we're talking about the biggest gut in bodybuilding. I wouldn't call him a bodybuilder. But other people with big guts for sure. And it's easy to get distended bellies, because we've seen, Phil Heath. We saw it, the stomach issue, and again, there are reasons for that, right? He had to have surgery, and mind you, the pictures I saw of Phil Heath not long ago, he's got a tight midsection, so he brought that back in. Yeah. So there's a lot of people that have had distended, and sometimes the distension is also as a cause of, is it GH or, okay, I'm trying to remember. there's one of the gears. I forget which steroid, which compound, but I think is it you guys probably know better than I do. Again, I'm no expert with this gear stuff. Is it GH that gives you a big belly? I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. I've never done GH, so I have no idea. Oh, HGH? Oh, yeah. So human growth hormone. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, I mean, that could definitely play a part into it. Now, when you go off the GH, when you go off growth, does that mean you don't have this distension anymore, or do you have to still work on your distension? I don't know. I don't know how that works. Okay. So you guys can teach me about gear. Not that, not that I want to be put on any more gear. I want to make sure I answer these questions. And again, if you guys have anything else you want to comment or put questions in the chat so I can make sure I can address them. Okay, so we did how not to lose it in prep. Oh, the mental side of prep, food temptations. When you've got food temptations when you're in prep, I'm in prep right now. I would love almond butter right now. But you know what? It's again, keeping in mind when you've got food temptations, first of all, don't have anything in your place if you can. So if let's say I'm a big chocoholic, but I'm not craving chocolate right now. But if I was, I wouldn't have it in my place, especially when I'm in prep. Now, let's say you have a family and there's junk around. Put it in the cupboards. Make sure you have a backup. So I don't care if it's cucumbers. I know it's not the same. Have a backup. And also backup foods that you can eat as well as distractions. When we're tempted by food, it's that we're getting distracted and it's filling that time in your mind up with something to do. So for me, I can always spend time cleaning, doing laundry, because when you're training 2 to 3 times a day, you go through a lot of laundry. So yeah, definitely try to get in some time when you're able to get stuff done. So cleaning, laundry, food prep, that consumes quite a bit of my day. And listening to bodybuilding podcasts. I listen to so many podcasts, I can't keep up with them. So that, again, that's a distraction. Distractions are really helpful when it comes to the food temptations. Now, when it comes to weight plateaus, check with your coach because there's a reason why you're plateauing. Now, sometimes it's natural to plateau for a little period of time. When you're trying something new, you could lose or gain depending on what you want to do, whether you're losing fat or you're trying to build some more lean muscle tissue. You could be stalling at a point, but just before you're about to, your weight's going to drop or it's going to go increase. So sometimes we have to stick with it a little bit longer. But again, talk with your coach when you're having a plateau of some sort, because there's usually a reason for it. Either we need to give it more time or there needs to be an adjustment. I've had some issues with the weight. So I talked to my coach and we've changed things up quite a bit. So we'll see. Let's see what the changes are. So have someone who's knowledgeable. Don't wing it. And don't do what your gym buddy does, because again, your gym buddy is going to be, maybe has a different metabolism. Maybe they're a different age. Maybe they have different life stressors. There's different things that will affect somebody to, affect their weight, believe it or not. As far as energy, when you have low energy, yes, low carbs, you'll have lower energy. You focus your day. Like for me, I'll have more energy. I know the times of the day I have more energy, and that's not usually the end of the day. It's usually the first half of the day. So that's why I always get my training in the morning and in the early afternoon at the latest, because that's when I'll have the most energy. And then the rest of the day, I don't have to have as much energy. So anything that's more energy intense, which is my training, that will be done again the first half of the day versus the last half of the day. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to have oodles of energy the rest of the day, but the rest of the stuff isn't as important as far as needing the focus that I need as when it comes to training. When I work with my clients, because I've been doing this for so many years, I don't have to do a lot of thinking. I can definitely focus. But focusing when you're doing, let's say, a heavy leg workout, a leg training day as an example, is different than, for me, than working with my clients. So working with my clients, it's easier for me to focus. Focusing on my reps, my cadence, my slowing down my eccentrics, putting pauses in, counting, like all that stuff, that takes more focus for me than my work. So that's why, again, I tend to do my work in the afternoon and evenings, and I do my training in the morning and early afternoons. So again, it's finding something that works for you. Okay. Okay, so tends to stick around. Oh, does it? Okay, the organ growth tends to stick around afterwards. I'm wondering if something can be done, though, even if you have that organ growth, if something can be done going dark afterwards for people who have that stomach distension to work. I don't know if can doing vacuums, if people practice vacuums after they get the stomach distension, bring it in over time? Or is there other things that can be done? I don't know. And if you know, please put it in the chat. Do you think Dale Chance would ever win first place? And do you think he'll ever get his pro card? Okay, Johnny, good question. I don't know who Dale Chance is, though. What category does he compete in? Going dark, peanut butter with honey and dark chocolate. Oh, that does going dark. Okay, let's talk. I love peanut butter and chocolate. Reese's peanut butter cups. What I would do. So those Reese's peanut butter cups, I would take my almond butter and I put a dollop of almond butter on my Reese's peanut butter cup, and I would eat it when I'm allowed. I'm not allowed this very often, but yes, peanut butter and chocolate goes well. But I'm not really big on dark chocolate. I like more the milk chocolate, but the honey I've never done with it. That's interesting. That does sound good, though. Going dark, you're talking my language. Okay. I can't have it in the house. Don't buy what you shouldn't eat. Agreed. It all starts at the grocery store. My decisions, they are paramount. I know I can't trust myself with peanut butter in the house. Yeah. Going dark, it's good that you have that awareness and that you're able to execute on that. So kudos to you for your discipline, because it's easier said than done. A lot of times we know what we should be doing, but what we should do and what we actually do can be two different things. But it's good that you're trying to be consistent with that. So kudos. Is there any other questions I got from Instagram? Again, if you guys have questions, please post them in the chat. I'll be wrapping up in just a few more minutes. Another question was social media, the positive and negative effects of social media. I don't know if I can do this one in a few minutes, but I'll try. Social media. Okay, can it be positive? It can be positive. I would want to ask you, when you're on social media, can it pass time? Oh, you can waste so much time on social media. If you're bored and you need something to do, you can be on social media. But it can be a negative, because once you get caught looking at social media, the problem is we do the comparison thing. What I mean is, you might compare, let's say, your body with somebody else or their lifestyle. Why do they have it so easy? They look like they're having fun all the time. Well, again, this is assuming they're not filtering their pictures. I don't know if they're showing you their entire life. There might be parts of their life they want to keep private, which is absolutely their prerogative. But keep in mind, no matter whether you're an influencer or if you're a fitness professional or you're the regular person, we all have issues. We might have them at different times in our life, but we all have issues. Now, we don't always necessarily want to put those issues out there too. Some people are, and some people have. And they want to do that, not necessarily to get attention. Well, actually, there are some people who do that just because they want to get followers or attention. But there are others, like Antoine, who talks about his addiction issues, not because he wants attention, but he wants to bring awareness and tell people, look, I struggled with this too, and I got through this. And this, bodybuilding helped give me some structure. It gave me some social support network. Anton is basically an example to saying, just because you're a bodybuilder does not mean you have your shit together. You can still not have your shit together and be a bodybuilder and still try to make it and still work and improve upon yourself. And Anton is a great example of that. So, it can be, it can be inspiring. You could be looking up to these people when you're on social media and say, hey, I like to follow this guy. They give me motivation. I saw a video of them and, I got pumped up, or I saw them doing a workout, and it's kind of like, I want to copy that workout and make it feel good to try something different and something, a new exercise or a new set of exercises that you haven't done before, especially by someone you admire. So it can be good. But let's say social media as a poster. So let's say you're the person posting, not just reading, but posting. When you're posting something on social media, be aware there's going to be people who are supportive. They'll say, hey, great job, or I appreciate that, or, whatever, thumbs up, great. But there's also what we call the internet trolls. Now, if you don't know what an internet troll is, and I'm sure you do, these are people who are very bored. And they like to be negative. In fact, I don't know if they know how to be positive. They're so bored, they will pick anything and really nitpick it to death. So if you guys have heard of Lee Priest, which I hope you have, Lee Priest has so many trolls that follow him. And it's not just Lee Priest. I'm talking about a lot of people. I actually did, if you check on my YouTube channel, under Mental Iron, and I forget what episode, but I did a video on how to deal with an internet troll. And I give you some strategies. So if you guys get bored, or if you need a distraction, or if you're just curious, head on over to my Mental Iron channel, where it says dealing with internet trolls, or how to deal with internet trolls. So it's so important to keep that in perspective. Not everyone's like that. And we tend to focus on the negative. So let's say you did a post and you get, let's say, 20 replies. And let's say you got 19 really good replies and 1 troll. What do? Do we focus on the 19 good replies? No, we focus on the troll is what we do. And then it can bug us. And then sometimes it can get into our heads and it can ruin our day. And it's not that we posted even anything controversial. You could do a picture of a flower and someone would tear it apart. It doesn't matter. It's just that these people are unhappy and they just need to pick on something. How to deal with stuff when people are negative is really hard, but it's also seeing what we call the forest through the trees. So the trees are like the negative comments. Now there's a difference between, by the way, trolls and constructive criticism. Trolls are not constructive. They're just negative. Constructive criticism is to say, hey, I love how this works and this works, and I learned something about this, but I wasn't quite clear when you said this. Or couldn't you expand on that? Or, I disagreed with this part. We are brought up in a society where we're not encouraged to have a different point of view. Or if we have a different point of view, it's almost like we're the enemy. We're not the enemy. It's important to have different points of view. I think that's important as long as it's a healthy conversation. But we're not encouraged to have healthy conversations with people with different points of view. At the end of the day, you still may not agree with each other. But I think it's really important to hear everyone out, still be able to have a healthy conversation, a healthy debate. And by the way, where is that ever taught in school? This is my little school rant. I do this every once in a while, where schools don't teach you real life skills anymore. The school curriculum hasn't changed in how many years, guys? How many years? The world has. Should not the school reflect the world changing a little bit and maybe teach some more hands-on skills? I'm not saying everything is garbage, but I'm saying there's a lot of topics, a lot of stuff that's taught in school that's not practical. Stress management skills, proper communication. I'm not talking about English or grammar. I'm talking about how to fight fair. Well, where is that taught in school? I teach my couples that. Okay. This needs to be, sorry guys, I'm going on a rant here, but our educational system needs a big overhaul. And I went to school for a long time, but I'd love to rehaul it. That's not where I'm going to go. My legacy is going to be doing more of the mental game piece with athletes and fitness professionals and you guys. Basically, I want to bring education and awareness and discussions and strategies because this is not talked about enough in sport. Now, some sports do advocate. So UFC has coaches that help with the mental game piece. Bodybuilders, there's nothing out there. There's no support systems that are advertised out there that I'm aware of. If you guys know, definitely introduce me to them because I'd love to network with these people because it's not well known. When I think about a lot of the bodybuilders that have passed, and I think about how they passed, and I'm not talking about health issues that would have happened anyway, but especially during COVID, there were a lot of people that could not compete, whether they were bodybuilders or people who just wanted to work out, and that's their method of getting rid of stress. And one person that really comes to mind is Luke Sandow. I really, really respected and was hoping he would win the Olympia. And I was, when he passed, it broke my heart. And I never met the guy. I felt like I knew him because of Fuad's channel. And there's a lot of others out there. And they don't have to be bodybuilders, guys. But I know, people who didn't, when the gyms got shut down, a lot of people went into deep depressions, really, really deep depressions. And some never came out. And that just broke my heart. And it was kind of like, I wish I had my channel back then so I could reach some of these people and talk to them and have an open discussion. And, I can't make the gyms open up, but we can talk about it. We were all like holed up in our own little worlds and our own little places. Yes, we could be online, but again, there wasn't a lot of social support around there. But I want to do that even we're not on COVID, but again, bring that awareness because it's not discussed. How many times have you seen podcasts where they say, yeah, the mental health piece is not talked about, but that's where it stops. It doesn't go further. And that's what I want to do. I want to take this further. So with your help, guys, I want to continue doing this. Please spread the word because I want to reach as many people as I can. Again, this doesn't have to be just bodybuilders. This could be athletes of any sport. This could be people in the fit, like just who are trying to be fit, trying to be healthy. And a lot of these principles that even apply to businesses, people in the entertainment industry, and even the fashion industry. That's another big aspect of like a mental game. Comedians, another mental game there. So a lot of this stuff can be applicable to a lot of people. And I just want to try to reach as many people as I can. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel and spread the word because I want to reach as many people. And I'm happy to take on new topics. Again, I'm just doing, today was more just of a mix of a question and answers, questions of people who've submitted me their questions on Instagram. So if you guys are watching this chat after the fact, post your questions below and I will address them in a future podcast. Or you can also Instagram me, DM me on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is Lesley T_mental_iron. I believe that's in my description. And yeah, so thank you guys for joining me today. So let me make sure I can't have, let's see, social media. Awesome for business, terrible for, it can't, okay, so going dark, the social media, awesome for business, yes. It can be terrible for mental health depending on how it's used. Because if you look at people like, let's say, Chris Bumstead, I think he's a really good example of, and again, I'm picking on Canadians. It's not just Canadians, guys. I have a lot of love for other bodybuilders out there that are not just Canadians. But, I think what he does on the social media is trying to inspire people. I think that's really good. And he tries to be real. But it can be bad for mental health going dark. I do agree. It can be. Oh yeah, hello, Mister. Would you be kind enough to talk a bit about fake self-confidence and a real one? Okay, that's a great question. Okay, so I won't wrap up yet because I want to answer this. And then, Michael, I had an instructor for a fitness class describe negative people as having soul cancer. Okay, that stuck with me. Recognizing people and avoiding them whenever possible. Agreed. When you, so, okay, so Michael, I'm just going to answer your question, then I'm going to go to Arshia's question, because that's a really good, interesting one. Negative people are, they're energy suckers. So if you want to think about like, you know what? Okay, you guys know what I mean by a leech? It's this little creature. It's like a bloodsucker. That's like negative people. They suck the energy out of you. And when you're around a negative people, you can be in the best mood in the world and you're around these negative people, and all of a sudden you might notice that your energy levels start to drop a little bit. When you're around upbeat people, it can actually make you feel a little bit more upbeat, even if you are kind of feeling tired. This is why, even though, I had in my previous place, I had some gym equipment in my basement, so I could train at home. I much prefer the gym because I thrive on the energy of the gym. It's not that even if there's no one in the gym, I can still work out. It's the higher ceilings that I like. It's the selection of the equipment. I like that excitement, especially when you have more than, 12 leg presses to choose from on leg day. And literally it is more than 12. But, it's having having other people, grunt it out and being able to, push hard, men and women. I don't care your age, if you're there, you're doing something. And I have respect for people. So it's not just you have to be a bodybuilder. So, I think it's important to be encouraging. So yeah, for negative people, it's like, no, it's okay. You can be negative over there. I'll walk away. So I agree with that soul cancer piece, Michael. Now, Arshia, I want to make sure I address this before we end today. Kind of to talk a bit about fake self-confidence and a real one. Okay, so fake self-confidence. That's a great question, actually. So fake self-confidence are people who are trying to hide something, and it's usually insecurities. So these are people who don't want you to know the real them. So they come off as being more confident, charismatic. They don't really care too much about what other people think. They're being fake about it. But really inside, they're like, I hope people don't see the real me. I hope people don't see what my flaws are. So you may not know someone who has fake self-confidence versus the real confidence. Real confidence is someone that's saying, you know what? Take me or leave me. This is how I am. I'm not perfect. I'm not proclaiming to be perfect. I have my flaws, but take me as I am. And if you don't like me, just like when I do a show, whether it's Mental Iron or I do with Dave, we do iron therapy together on RX Muscle. And we didn't do RX Muscle today because it's a holiday. And when it's a holiday and he has the kids, he cannot do a podcast with me with the kids around. They're just like, they're very energetic. I wish we could actually put that energy in a jar. That would be coming really handy, especially on leg day. But what I want to say is that real confidence is not caring so much what other people think, because you're securing yourself to saying, I know who I am. These other people don't know me very well. So they may come to mistaken conclusions or incorrect conclusions, but that's their choice, that they choose not to get to know me, and they end up, let's say, being an internet troll. They made some claims about me and they didn't really know much about me. Okay, that's more a reflection of them than it is about me. That takes, confidence to not take that stuff personally. Now, having said that, you can also be someone who doesn't want to let people in because you're a private person, which is fine. You don't have to put everything out there. But you don't have the confidence, like the fake confidence. You have some confidence, but it's not over the top. A lot of these people with fake confidence are over the top. it's almost like someone who tries to oversell you something. It's too much. And there's going to be people, whether it's a confidence issue or maybe it's their delivery of things, of their messages that you don't appreciate. There's always going to be people out there that are going to be different than you. And I want you to more focus on you and what you can do to become a better person. And if people don't accept that in you, let them go. Let them go. Now, when they're family, it's a little trickier. And that might mean you don't spend as much time with those people. Again, it's okay to have healthy debates as long as everyone's being respectful, but not everyone's respectful. And we're not encouraged, this goes back to my school rant, we're not encouraged to express different points of view in a healthy manner. Where are we taught that? We're taught, especially, this goes back to the social media thing. If you don't believe in whether it's Roe versus Wade, whether it's the vaccine, whether it's whatever, there's so much controversy out there. The he, she, whatever. It's, if you don't agree with me, you're the enemy. That is what is being propagated on social media. Why? Why can't we have differing points of view, but be able to have constructive conversations about it? I think that's important. And I think that requires some level of confidence to be able to do that. Sorry, guys, my alarm just went off, which means I have a client call in about a few minutes. So, Arisha, I thank you for your question. I'm not sure if I quite answered it. So what I'd like to do is, because I have to wrap up, if you can send me a message on DM if I didn't finish answering this question fully for you, send me a DM on Instagram. So it's Lesley T_mental_iron. Just send me a message and I will respond. Just tell me what, maybe a little bit more clarity of what you're looking for so I can tailor the answer a little bit better. Okay. So hats off to you guys for staying. I always plan these lives to be like 30 minutes. And like we're an hour and 45 minutes because I'm having a good time with you guys. So thank you. And for dialoguing with me, for asking questions. And like I said, anyone who's watching this, even if it's after the fact, please post your questions below because I will answer them either below or I'll respond to your comment below, or I'll do another video answering doing another QA with a bunch of questions. And also, again, remember, I'm going to do lives every single week. Like I said, with iron therapy, we didn't do iron therapy because Monday is a holiday. And that's when we tape iron therapy. And then we do the live. We try to do it live. And then right after iron therapy, I do mental iron where I do YouTube. So even if we don't answer your question, even if I'm doing a topic on something and you have a question on something completely different, ask it here on mental iron. But I'm here every week on Mondays after the iron therapy show. If there's ever an exception to that, I will make a post about it. But just expect that I'm going to be doing these lives to answer your questions. And again, it doesn't have to be a particular topic. So come back. It's going to be around the 2:30, 2:40 mark, depending on what time we finish iron therapy on my live. So once again, thanks again for everyone for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And again, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, tell people about it. I want to get the word out there to give a lot of more mental health strategies to people who need it. So have a great day, everyone. And remember to keep your mental game on. Bye for now.